Let me ask you something. Are you truly living or are you just existing? Be honest with yourself. Are you waking up every day with fire in your soul, ready to dominate, or are you stuck in the same routine, waiting for the right time, the perfect opportunity, or someone else to give you permission to go after what you want? Too many people are playing small, settling for less than they're capable of, making excuses, shrinking their dreams to fit their fears instead of rising to their potential. But I've got news for you. The world doesn't reward those who sit on the sidelines. It rewards the bold, the relentless, the ones who decide that enough is enough and take control of their destiny. And that's exactly why we're here today, because this is your wake-up call. The time for playing it safe is over. The time for waiting is over. It's time to step up, take massive action, and take over the game of life. Are you ready? Let's go. Everything starts in the mind. Every victory, every failure, every breakthrough, every setback, it all begins with the thoughts you allow to take root. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your deadliest enemy, and the battle is happening every single day, whether you realize it or not. Most people lose before they even step onto the field. Not because they're not smart enough, strong enough, or talented enough, but because they've already decided in their minds that they can't win. They've let fear, doubt, and limiting beliefs dictate their reality. They've convinced themselves that success is for other people, that wealth is for the lucky ones, that happiness is for the chosen few. They've programmed themselves to expect less, to accept less, and to stay small. But here's the truth, your mind is programmable. The beliefs you carry today, they didn't come from nowhere. They were installed by your parents, your teachers, your environment, your past experiences. And if they were installed, that means they can be rewritten. The question is, are you going to take control and rewrite the script, or are you going to let the old programming run your life? Because here's what happens when you don't take control. Your mind starts looking for proof of your limitations. It starts finding every excuse, every obstacle, every reason why things won't work. It's wired for survival, not success. It's looking for danger, for problems, for everything that could go wrong. And if you let it, it will talk you out of every opportunity, every risk, every decision that could change your life. It will tell you that you're not ready, that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, and if you listen to that voice, you'll shrink, you'll hesitate, you'll hold yourself back while others take action, and before you know it, years will pass, and you'll wonder why you're still stuck in the same place. But the winners, the ones who take over the game, they know that mindset is everything. They know that if they don't control their thoughts will control them. So they train their minds like an athlete trains their body. They feed it with powerful beliefs, with empowering language, with thoughts of possibility and certainty. They don't entertain doubt. They don't negotiate with fear. They don't wait to feel confident. They create confidence by taking action, by proving to themselves day after day that they are capable, that they are strong, that they are unstoppable. Your mind is either working for you or against you. It's either pushing you forward or pulling you back. And the difference between those who win and those who lose is simple. The winners choose to master their mindset. They choose to see challenges as opportunities, failures as feedback. Fear is fuel. They condition themselves to focus on what's possible, on solutions, on what they can do rather than what they can't. Think about this. Every great achievement in history started as a thought. Every business empire, every groundbreaking invention, every revolution, every movement, It all started in someone's mind before it became reality. The people who changed the world didn't have anything you don't have. They just refused to let fear and doubt control them. They decided that their vision was more powerful than their excuses. They trained their minds to see possibilities where others saw roadblocks. They understood that if they won the battle in their minds, they could win anywhere. But the ones who play small, the ones who live their whole lives in mediocrity, they let their fears, their past, and their limiting beliefs run the show. They let doubt whisper in their ear and convince them to stay where it's safe, where it's familiar, where they don't have to risk failing or looking foolish. And the worst part, they don't even realize they're doing it. They think they're being realistic, that they're just waiting for the right time, that they're playing it smart. But what they're really doing is surrendering the battlefield of their mind without even putting up a fight. Every day you have a choice. You can either train your mind to expect greatness, to look for opportunities, to push through fear and take massive action, or you can let your old programming keep you stuck, keep you small, keep you living a life that's less than what you're capable of. And if you're not actively rewiring your thoughts, if you're not constantly feeding your mind with powerful beliefs, with new possibilities, with the absolute conviction that you are meant for more, then guess what? You're losing the battle before you even step onto the field. Fear is the greatest thief of dreams, the silent assassin of potential, the invisible force that keeps people locked inside the cages they've built for themselves. It whispers lies, spins illusions, and wraps itself around your mind so tightly that you start believing it's the truth. It makes you think you're being rational when, in reality, you're just being controlled. Fear is not real. It's a construct of your mind, a story you tell yourself, a distorted reflection of a reality that hasn't even happened yet. Most people live their entire lives in a prison built by fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. And the worst part, they don't even recognize it as fear. They disguise it as being practical, as waiting for the right moment, as not wanting to take unnecessary risks. But deep down, if they were brutally honest with themselves, they'd see that fear has been making their decisions for them all along. Fear convinces them to play it safe, to settle, to stay in situations that no longer serve them because the thought of change, the thought of uncertainty is too much to handle. It keeps them from speaking up, from taking the shot, from betting on themselves. And before they know it, they've wasted years making decisions based not on what they want, but on what they're afraid of losing. But here's what fear doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you that every successful person you admire felt the exact same fear, but acted anyway. It doesn't tell you that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's taking action in spite of it. It doesn't tell you that fear isn't a stop sign, it's a green light. It's pointing you toward the very thing you need to face in order to grow. Fear is supposed to show up when you're on the edge of something great. It's supposed to challenge you. It's supposed to make you hesitate for just a second, because that hesitation is the moment where your destiny is decided. Do you listen to the fear, or do you move forward anyway? Fear will try to convince you that failure is the worst thing that can happen. That if you step out, if you take a risk, if you try something bold and it doesn't work, the world will laugh at you, you'll lose everything, and you'll never recover. But fear is lying to you, because the real failure isn't falling short, it's never even trying. The real loss isn't making a mistake, it's living your entire life wondering what could have been if you had just been brave enough to take a shot. The real pain isn't rejection, it's regret. And yet, most people let fear run their lives. They let it control their choices, their opportunities, their level of success, their happiness. They let fear build walls around their dreams, keeping them just close enough to see but never close enough to touch. They convince themselves that playing small is the safer option, that avoiding risk means avoiding pain, but what they don't realize is that fear doesn't actually protect them, it paralyzes them. It doesn't keep them safe, it keeps them stuck. It doesn't help them avoid pain, it guarantees a slow, painful death of their dreams. Fear is an illusion. It only has power if you give it power. It only stops you if you let it stop you. It feeds off hesitation, off doubt, off your willingness to listen to the voice in your head that says, what if it doesn't work? But that same voice will never ask, what if it does? Fear doesn't want you to consider that possibility, because the moment you do, the moment you start imagining the success, the breakthrough, the transformation on the other side of that fear, it loses its grip on you. It can't control you anymore because you've seen the truth. Everything you want is on the other side of the very thing you're afraid of. But fear is smart. It knows how to disguise itself. It knows how to make you think you're making logical decisions when in reality, you're just running from what scares you. It knows how to make you believe you need more time, more information, more preparation before you take action. It knows how to make you procrastinate, hesitate, delay, because the longer you wait, the weaker your momentum becomes. It knows how to make you chase certainty, to seek guarantees, to demand proof that things will work out before you ever make a move. But that's not how life works. You don't get certainty first, you earn it by taking action. You don't get confidence before you start. You build it by doing the thing that scares you. You don't get a guarantee that everything will work. You create your own success by refusing to back down. The most dangerous thing about fear isn't that it exists, it's that most people accept it as fact. They accept their limitations as truth instead of recognizing them as self-imposed. They accept their doubts as reality instead of realizing they're just old stories they've been telling themselves for years. They accept their excuses as valid instead of questioning who they could become if they stop letting fear dictate their lives. And that's exactly what fear wants. It wants you to believe that you're powerless. It wants you to believe that you're not ready. It wants you to believe that your dreams are too big, your ambitions too unrealistic, your goals too far out of reach. Because as long as you believe that, as long as you let fear keep you playing small, you'll never take the actions necessary to prove it wrong. Fear's the enemy of progress, the killer of potential, the silent force that keeps people living lives of quiet desperation. But the truth is, fear isn't going anywhere. It will always be there, whispering in your ear, trying to pull you back into your comfort zone. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't that the successful ones don't feel fear, it's that they don't listen to it. They don't let it dictate their choices. They don't let it decide their future. They use it as fuel, as motivation, as a sign that they're moving in the right direction. They've learned that fear is nothing more than a test to see how badly you really want it, how committed you really are, how willing you are to step into discomfort in order to claim what's yours. Nothing changes until you move. Nothing shifts until you decide. Nothing happens until you take action. Not just any action, but massive, relentless, unstoppable action. The kind of action that makes people around you question your sanity. The kind of action that separates those who talk about success from those who actually create it. Most people live their lives in almosts and maybes. They almost start the business, but they hesitate. They think about getting in shape, but they put it off. They want to improve their lives, but they never take the level of action required to make it happen. They dabble, they take half measures. They dip their toes in the water instead of diving in, and then they wonder why they're stuck, why they're frustrated, why they feel like they're running in circles instead of making real progress. Because here's the truth. Massive results require massive action. You don't kind of go after your goals. You don't sort of chase your dreams. You don't casually decide to change your life and expect anything real to happen. The world doesn't reward people who try, it rewards people who commit, the people who refuse to accept anything less than success. The ones who push past their comfort zone, who show up every single day with the intensity, the hunger, the absolute certainty that they will make it happen no matter what. Most people never even get started because they're waiting for the perfect time, the right moment, the guarantee that everything will work out. But waiting is the enemy. Waiting kills dreams. Waiting keeps you stuck exactly where you are, because the truth is, the perfect time doesn't exist. There will never be a moment when you have all the answers, all the resources, all the certainty. The only way to create certainty is through action. The only way to gain momentum is to start moving. And yet, most people hesitate. They overthink, they analyze every possible outcome, they sit in paralysis by analysis, trying to predict the future, trying to avoid mistakes, trying to make sure they won't fail. But here's the reality. You will fail. You will make mistakes. You will mess up, hit walls, face obstacles you didn't see coming. And that's exactly why massive action is necessary. Because when you go all in, when you take enough swings, when you move fast enough, you overpower your failures with progress. You don't have time to dwell on what went wrong because you're already on to the next move, already testing the next strategy, already pushing forward with so much force that nothing can stop you. The ones who win in life aren't the smartest, they aren't the most talented, they aren't the ones with the best connections, the best background, the best circumstances. The ones who win are the ones who outwork everyone else. The ones who execute at a level most people aren't willing to match. The ones who don't just take a little bit of action, they take so much action with so much intensity that success becomes inevitable. But most people don't operate like that. They take just enough action to feel like they're doing something, but not enough to actually move the needle. They start something, but when they don't see immediate results, they slow down, they hesitate, they lose faith. They put in some effort, but when things get hard, they pull back. And they wonder why they don't see breakthroughs, why they don't experience real transformation, why they feel stuck. Because here's the thing, massive action isn't a one-time event. It's not about getting motivated for a day, for a week, for a month. It's about showing up every single day with the same intensity, the same drive, the same fire. It's about committing to the process even when you don't feel like it, even when it's inconvenient, even when you're tired, even when it seems like nothing is working. Because that's when most people quit, and that's why most people never reach their full potential. Massive action means doing what it takes for as long as it takes. It means staying in the game long after everyone else has tapped out. It means pushing through when nothing seems to be working because you know that consistency compounds, that persistence always wins, that the ones who refuse to quit are the ones who rise to the top. It means attacking your goals with an intensity that makes people uncomfortable. It means setting a new standard for yourself. Not just working hard, but working obsessively. Not just taking steps, but leaping forward again and again and again until you break through. And here's what happens when you commit at that level. Opportunities open up. People take notice. Doors that were once closed start to swing open because the universe doesn't ignore people who refuse to be ignored. The world bends to those who demand more from themselves, who play bigger, who take bolder actions than anyone else around them. But none of that happens if you sit back, if you hesitate, if you wait for permission to go after what you already know is yours. So many people are sitting on potential they'll never tap into, not because they're not capable, but because they never fully commit. They never flip the switch. They never burn the boats and decide that there is no plan B, that failure is not an option, that they will find a way no matter what. They give themselves an escape route. They keep 1 foot in and 1 foot out. They let fear dictate their level of effort. And as a result, they get halfway to their dreams before turning back. They get close to success, but never close enough to claim it. But the ones who take over the game, the ones who rise to the top, they operate differently. They don't dip their toes in. They jump all the way in. They don't wait for certainty. They create it through action. They don't dabble. They dominate. They make the decision that they are all in, that they will not stop, that they will keep pushing, keep grinding, keep showing up at a level most people wouldn't even consider. And because they do that, they get what most people never will. Excuses are the stories you tell yourself to justify why you're not where you want to be. They're the lies you've bought into, the rationalizations that make you feel comfortable with staying the same. And the most dangerous thing about excuses, they sound reasonable. They sound logical. They sound like the truth. I don't have enough time. I'm too tired. I don't have the right connections. I don't know where to start. It's just not the right moment. Sound familiar? That's because these are the same excuses people use every single day to stay stuck, to stay small, to stay in a life they hate. Not because they're incapable of changing it, but because they've convinced themselves that their excuses are valid. But here's the reality. Your excuses are nothing more than negotiations with mediocrity. Every time you entertain them, you're making a deal with the part of you that wants to stay comfortable, the part of you that's afraid of failure, the part of you that would rather settle for average than fight for greatness. And if you keep negotiating with that voice, it will win. It will keep you in the same patterns, the same struggles, the same frustrations, year after year, until one day you wake up and realize you wasted your potential, not because you weren't capable, but because you talked yourself out of it. Excuses are seductive. They give you permission to stay where it's safe, to delay action, to avoid responsibility. They give you a way out, a back door, an easy escape from doing the hard things that would actually change your life. But what you don't realize is that every time you choose an excuse over action, you're reinforcing the identity of someone who doesn't follow through. You're proving to yourself that you can't be trusted, that your words mean nothing, that when push comes to shove, you'll choose comfort over commitment. And the more you do it, the harder it becomes to break free. Because excuses don't just steal your progress, They steal your belief in yourself. They erode your confidence, your self-respect, your ability to trust that when you say you're going to do something, you'll actually do it. They make you small, they make you weak, they make you powerless. And the longer you allow them to control you, the harder it is to wake up and face the truth. You are the only thing standing in your way. Think about it. There are people who have had less than you, who have started from harder circumstances, who have faced bigger obstacles, and yet they made it happen anyway. They built the business, they lost the weight, they transformed their lives, not because they had it easier, but because they refused to negotiate with their excuses. They made a decision that nothing was going to stop them. They stopped debating whether or not they felt like taking action. They stopped letting their emotions dictate their discipline. They stopped entertaining thoughts of quitting and just did the work. And that's the difference between winners and everyone else. Winners don't let their excuses run the show. They don't let their feelings dictate their level of action. They don't wait until they feel ready, feel motivated, feel inspired, because they know that if they wait for perfect conditions, they'll be waiting forever. They don't argue with themselves about whether or not they're going to do what they said they'd do, they just do it. But most people negotiate. They wake up and start debating with themselves. Should I go to the gym today? Should I work on my business or just take a break? Should I push through or just try again tomorrow? And the second you allow that conversation to happen, you've already lost. Because the moment you give yourself an option, the weaker part of you will find a way to justify taking the easy way out. It will remind you of how tired you are, how hard things have been, how you deserve a break. It will convince you that skipping one workout, one work session, one commitment isn't a big deal. But it is a big deal, because once you break that promise to yourself, it becomes easier to do it again and again and again until it becomes who you are. But when you stop negotiating, when you decide that there is no debate, no discussion, no room for excuses, that's when everything changes. That's when you shift from being someone who wants results to someone who gets results. That's when you become the kind of person who follows through no matter what, because there's no other option. And it's not about being perfect. It's not about never failing, never struggling, never feeling resistance. It's about developing the discipline to take action even when you don't want to. It's about committing to a standard of execution that is non-negotiable. It's about deciding once and for all that your goals, your dreams, your future are more important than the temporary comfort of an excuse. Because let's be real, your excuses might feel good in the moment, but they won't feel good when you look back and realize how much time you wasted. They won't feel good when you see someone else living the life you wanted, achieving the success you could have had, all because they were willing to do what you weren't. They won't feel good when you realize that the only reason you're not where you want to be is because you kept choosing comfort over commitment, distraction over discipline, fear over action. You need to draw a line in the sand and say, no more. No more excuses. No more delays. No more waiting for the perfect moment, the right time, the ideal circumstances. No more negotiating with the part of you that wants to stay small, stay weak, stay stuck. No more letting your emotions dictate your discipline. No more allowing fear, doubt, or hesitation to steal what's meant for you. Because at the end of the day, you either have excuses or you have results. You either take control or you stay stuck. You either commit to your vision or you watch someone else live it. And the decision, it's always yours. Look around at the people in your life, your friends, your family, your coworkers, your mentors, your social circle. Now, ask yourself one question. Are they pushing you forward or pulling you back? Because whether you realize it or not, the people you spend the most time with are shaping you in ways you can't even see. They're influencing your mindset, your habits, your standards, your expectations of what's possible for your life. And the truth is, you will never rise higher than the level of the people you consistently surround yourself with. If you spend time with people who make excuses, guess what? You'll start making excuses too. If you hang around people who complain, who blame others, who always focus on the negative, that energy will infect your mind like a virus. If your closest friends have no ambition, no drive, no hunger for success, you'll start lowering your own standards without even realizing it. Because energy's contagious. Mindsets are contagious. And the people in your life are either pulling you up to a higher level or dragging you down to theirs. It's been said that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that for a second. Look at their work ethic, look at their bank accounts, look at their mindset, look at their level of success. That's the gravitational pull you're living under every single day. If they're constantly talking about how hard life is, how nothing ever works out, how the system is rigged against them, your brain will start absorbing that narrative. You'll start believing that success is out of reach, that nothing you do really matters, that you might as well settle for whatever life gives you. But if you're surrounded by people who think bigger, who push limits, who refuse to accept mediocrity, everything changes. When you're around winners, their habits rub off on you. Their standards become your standards. Their work ethic becomes your work ethic. You start expecting more from yourself because you're constantly seeing what's possible when you show up with intensity, when you commit, when you refuse to settle. And this isn't just motivational talk, this is science. Your environment shapes your brain. The conversations you hear, the attitudes you're exposed to, the behaviors you witness on a daily basis, these things rewire your subconscious programming. If you're always around people who cut corners, who settle, who procrastinate, that becomes your normal. But if you're around people who demand excellence from themselves, who push beyond their limits, who refuse to quit, that becomes your normal. So you have to ask yourself, are the people in my life making me better or keeping me average? Are they inspiring me, challenging me, forcing me to level up? Or are they keeping me comfortable, enabling my bad habits, making it easy for me to stay the same? And here's the hard truth. Some of the people closest to you won't want you to grow, not because they're bad people, but because your growth makes them uncomfortable. Your ambition forces them to confront their own lack of action. Your success reminds them of their own unfulfilled potential. And instead of rising with you, some people will try to pull you back down, not out of malice, but out of fear. They'll say, "Why are you working so hard? Just relax." They'll laugh at your goals. They'll tell you to be realistic. They'll remind you of all the reasons why it's too risky, too hard, too unlikely to go after what you want. And if you listen to them, if you absorb that doubt, if you let their limitations become your reality, you will stay exactly where you are. This is why you need to be ruthless about who you let into your circle. You need to guard your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. If you want to be great, you need to surround yourself with greatness. If you want to be wealthy, you need to be around people who understand money. If you want to be unstoppable, you need to be around people who refuse to be stopped. And sometimes That means making hard choices. It means distancing yourself from people who no longer align with your vision. It means letting go of relationships that are keeping you small. It means saying no to people who don't respect your growth. It means understanding that outgrowing people isn't betrayal, it's evolution. And before you say, but I can't just cut people out of my life, I'm not saying you need to, but you do need to limit your exposure to people who drain your energy, who keep you in old patterns, who don't support the person you're becoming. If you have negative friends, stop spending every weekend with them. If your coworkers complain all day, stop engaging in their conversations. If your family doubts your dreams, stop seeking their validation. You don't have to cut people off, but you do have to stop letting them influence you. At the same time, you need to actively seek out people who will challenge you, push you, elevate you. Find mentors, join communities, invest in relationships that expand your thinking instead of shrinking it. Put yourself in rooms where you're the least successful person there, because that's how you grow. Surround yourself with people who make you uncomfortable in the best way possible. People who are so driven, so disciplined, so next level that just being around them forces you to step up your game. Because here's the bottom line. Your environment will make or break you. If you're surrounded by people who play small, you will play small. If you're surrounded by people who operate at a high level, you will rise to that level. It's not a question of if, it's a question of who. Who are you choosing to let shape your mindset, your habits, your future? Because whether you realize it or not, you are being shaped. And if you don't take control of your circle will take control of you. Your body is not just a machine. It's the control center of your emotions, your energy, your mindset, your performance. If you want to take over the game of life, if you want to dominate in business, relationships, success, anything, you have to start with the most fundamental thing, your physiology. Because if you don't control your body will control you. Most people walk around like zombies, slouched over, breathing shallow, moving slow, operating with low energy, and wondering why they can't stay motivated, why they feel stuck, why they can't break through. They think the problem is in their mind, but the truth is the body drives the mind. Your emotions, your confidence, your ability to push through obstacles, all of it starts with how you move, how you breathe, how you use the most powerful tool you've ever been given, your physiology. Think about it. When you're slouched, when your shoulders are rounded, when your movements are slow, what kind of emotions does that create? What kind of energy does that put you in? That posture tells your brain, I'm tired, I'm weak, I'm uncertain, I don't have control. And if your body is communicating weakness, your mind follows. Your thoughts, your decisions, your actions, they all reflect the state of your physiology. But when you shift your body, when you stand tall, when you breathe deep, when you move with purpose and power, your brain gets a completely different message. It says, I'm strong, I'm confident, I'm unstoppable. Your body is constantly sending signals to your brain, and your brain is responding in real time. Change the signal and you change the state. Change the state and you change the outcome. And yet most people completely ignore this. They try to think their way into motivation. They try to force themselves to feel confident. They try to will their way into action. But they're fighting an uphill battle because their body is working against them. You can't just think your way into energy. You have to move your way into it. You have to activate your body in a way that shifts everything in an instant. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to feel depressed when you're jumping up and down, moving fast, taking deep, powerful breaths? It's almost impossible because depression, anxiety, hesitation, those emotions live in a weak body. They thrive in stillness. They feed off poor posture, off shallow breathing, off weak movement. But when you take control of your physiology, when you snap yourself into motion, when you raise your energy, those emotions dissolve because they can't exist in a peak state. And this is the secret most people never realize. Energy is not something you wait for. It's something you generate. You don't wait to feel strong, you move strong. You don't wait to feel confident, you breathe confident. You don't wait to feel powerful, you act powerful. And when you do that consistently, your entire life starts shifting. Because here's what happens when you master your physiology. Your decisions get sharper, your mindset gets stronger, your ability to handle stress skyrockets, your ability to lead, to execute, to push through fear, it all levels up. Because now you're operating from a place of power, not weakness. You're controlling your state instead of letting your state control you. And let's talk about energy. Everyone says they want more energy, but most people don't do what it takes to create it. They think energy is just about sleep or food or caffeine. But energy is movement, it's momentum, it's activation. You ever notice how after a workout you feel alive? You feel unstoppable? That's because movement creates energy. Your body is a generator, and the more you move, the more energy you produce. But what do most people do? They sit all day, they barely move, they let their body atrophy, and then they wonder why they feel sluggish, why they have no motivation, why they struggle to stay focused. The body is designed for motion, and the less you move, the more you stagnate. And stagnation is the enemy of growth. If you want to dominate in life, if you want to take full control, you need to develop rituals that prime your body for peak performance every single day. You need to wake up and activate your physiology before you do anything else. That means getting up and moving with power. That means taking deep, intentional breaths that flood your body with oxygen and energy. That means standing strong, stretching, shaking out tension, training your body to command energy instead of waiting for it. And let's be clear, this isn't just about exercise. This is about mastering the way you carry yourself in every moment. Because how you move is how you live. If you move with hesitation, you live with hesitation. If you move with confidence, you live with confidence. If you move with certainty, you live with certainty. When you watch the most successful people in the world, you see this immediately. You see the way they walk, the way they stand, the way they command space. They don't shrink, they don't hesitate, they don't move like people who are unsure of themselves. They own their physiology, and because of that, they own their presence, they own the room, they own their results. But most people don't think about this. They think confidence is something you're born with, that energy is something you either have or don't have, but that's a lie. Confidence is built, energy is created, power is trained, and it starts with how you use your body. So you have to ask yourself, what message is my body sending right now? Am I communicating strength, power, certainty? Or am I sending signals of doubt, hesitation, weakness? Because the world is responding to you. Opportunities are responding to you. People are responding to you. And if your physiology is weak, your results will be weak. Mastering your physiology is mastering everything. It's taking control of the foundation that dictates how you think, how you feel, how you perform in every area of life. It's breaking free from the cycle of waiting, hesitating, hoping things will change, and instead stepping into the driver's seat and commanding your energy, your confidence, your state at will. And once you do that, once you condition your body to operate at its highest level every single day, you become unstoppable. Because now you're not just thinking your way into success, you're moving into it, you're breathing into it, you're stepping into every situation with a presence that commands respect, that demands results, that says, I am here and I am in control. Your life right now is a direct reflection of the standards you've been willing to accept. Every result you have or don't have comes down to what you've settled for. Not what you wanted, not what you hoped for, not what you wished would happen, but what you demanded of yourself, what you expected of yourself, what you refused to accept as anything less than non-negotiable. Because let's be honest, everyone wants to be successful. Everyone wants to be healthy. Everyone wants financial freedom, deep relationships, confidence, happiness, but wanting it isn't enough. Standards are what separate those who achieve from those who struggle. Your standards dictate your actions dictate your results, and your results dictate your life. If you're not where you want to be, it's because at some level, you've allowed yourself to operate at a standard that is beneath what you're capable of. You've tolerated less than your best. You've settled for excuses. You've accepted a level of effort, discipline, and execution that isn't demanding enough to create the life you actually want. And until you change that, until you raise your standards, you will stay stuck exactly where you are. Look at any area of your life where you're not getting the results you want, and I guarantee you'll find that your standards in that area are too low. You want to be in great shape? What's your standard for your health? Do you train like someone who takes their body seriously? Or do you let yourself off the hook when you don't feel like it? Do you eat with discipline, or do you just go with whatever's easy? Your body is a reflection of what you've accepted, not what you want. You want financial success? What's your standard for your work ethic, your investments, your discipline around money? Are you treating your finances like a serious business, or are you just hoping things will work out? Do you demand financial intelligence from yourself, or do you avoid learning about wealth and keep playing small? You want to build better relationships? What's your standard for how you show up? Are you bringing full presence, full effort, full commitment to the people in your life, or are you half in, half out, distracted, inconsistent? Because the quality of your relationships is a reflection of the standard you've set for how you connect with others. And here's what most people don't realize. Your standards aren't what you say you want. They're what you actually live. You can talk all day about what you want, what you dream about, what you hope for, but your actions reveal your real standards. If you're not showing up, if you're not pushing yourself, if you're not delivering at the highest level, then your standard isn't as high as you think it is. Winners, people who dominate in life, don't just have goals, they have standards. They don't say, I hope I get in shape. They say, I train like an athlete, because that's who I am. They don't say, I hope I succeed in business. They say, I demand excellence for myself every single day because anything less is unacceptable. They don't say, I hope I have great relationships. They say, I show up with love, commitment, and presence because that's what I expect from myself. This is what separates the best from everyone else. Their standards are non-negotiable. There is no debate. No excuses. No, I'll do it when I feel like it. It's who they are. It's how they live. And if you want to change your life, you have to start here. You have to raise the bar. You have to stop allowing yourself to operate below your potential. You have to stop accepting weakness from yourself. You have to stop negotiating with your own limitations. Because your brain is always looking for the minimum standard it can get away with. It's wired for survival, not success. It wants comfort, it wants ease, it wants to avoid effort, discipline, and discomfort. But success, growth, fulfillment, those only come when you demand more from yourself than your mind wants to give. Think about this. If you're the type of person who must get 8 hours of sleep and you only get 6, your body will force you to adjust. You'll find a way to make up for that rest because you've conditioned yourself to expect nothing less. If you're the type of person who must brush your teeth every morning, you don't even think about it, you just do it. That's a standard. It's not a goal, it's not a maybe, it's a must. Now imagine if you applied that same level of non-negotiability to your goals. Imagine if you treated your workouts like they were mandatory instead of optional. Imagine if you treated your business like it had to succeed instead of hoping it would. Imagine if you set a standard where quitting, slacking, and playing small were simply not an option. Because that's the difference between people who succeed and people who struggle. People who struggle say, I want to be successful. People who win say, I refuse to accept anything less than excellence. People who struggle say, I should be more disciplined. People who win say, I am disciplined because that's the standard I hold myself to. People who struggle say, I'll try to be better. People who win say, there is no try. This is who I am. So if you want to change your life, stop focusing on goals and start focusing on standards. Stop setting intentions and start setting requirements. Stop wishing for better results and start demanding more from yourself. Because here's the truth. Your life will never exceed your standards. You will never outperform what you've trained yourself to accept. If you tolerate laziness, you'll get laziness. If you tolerate excuses, you'll get excuses. If you tolerate mediocrity, that's exactly what you'll get. But the second you decide, the second you say, this is no longer acceptable, everything changes. Because now you're not hoping for a better life, you're commanding it. You're becoming the kind of person who operates at a level where success is inevitable. So look at your life right now. Look at the areas where you're falling short, where you're not getting what you want. And instead of making another excuse, instead of blaming circumstances, instead of hoping things magically change, ask yourself, what standard have I been willing to accept here? And then, what standard am I going to demand from now on? Because your next level, your breakthrough, your success, it won't come from wishing, it won't come from hoping. It will come the second you say, enough. I will no longer accept anything less than my absolute best. And when you make that decision, not just once, but every single day, that's when you stop playing small. That's when you take over the game. Most people run from problems. They see challenges as roadblocks, as signs that something is wrong, as reasons to slow down, quit, or complain. But that mindset is the very thing that keeps them stuck, that keeps them playing small, that keeps them from ever breaking through. Because here's the truth. Problems are not obstacles. Problems are fuel. Problems are the very thing that sharpen you, strengthen you, and forge you into someone who is unstoppable. Look at the most successful people in the world, the leaders, the innovators, the warriors, the champions. Every single one of them has faced massive problems, overwhelming challenges, situations that most people would call impossible. But what separates them from everyone else is how they respond. Average people let problems slow them down. Great people use problems to speed up. They turn obstacles into stepping stones. They take every challenge and convert it into power, because that's what problems are, raw energy. And that energy can either break you or build you. It can either drain you or drive you. The difference is in your mindset. If you see problems as something to avoid, you'll always feel like life is against you. But if you see them as fuel, you'll start to crave them. You'll start to seek them, because you'll understand that every problem is a chance to get stronger, to get smarter, to get tougher, to get better. Think about it. What happens to a muscle when you put it under stress, when you push it beyond its limits, when you give it more resistance than it's used to? It grows, it becomes stronger, it adapts. But only if you push through the pain, only if you embrace the challenge, only if you refuse to back down when it gets tough. Your mind works the same way. If you shy away from problems, if you avoid resistance, you become weak, soft, unprepared for the battles that life will throw at you. But if you lean in, if you embrace the fight, if you train yourself to thrive in the fire, then nothing can stop you. The reality is, you don't become great despite your problems. You become great because of them. The struggle builds the strength. The challenge creates the champion. The obstacles are the very thing that separate those who win from those who lose, because winners don't see problems as setbacks, they see them as stepping stones. They understand that every challenge they face is sharpening them into someone who cannot be broken. History proves this over and over again. Look at the greatest inventors, the most powerful leaders, the most legendary athletes. None of them got to the top without facing massive problems. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000,000 times before he created the light bulb. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team before becoming the greatest player of all time. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television before she became one of the most influential people in media. Every single person who has ever done anything great has faced problems that could have stopped them, but they use those problems as fuel. And this is what you have to understand. Every time you face a problem, you're being given a choice. You can let it drain you, defeat you, break you, or you can flip the script. You can decide that this is an opportunity. You can decide that this is the exact thing you needed to level up. You can decide that instead of slowing down, you're going to speed up. Instead of getting discouraged, you're going to get dangerous. Instead of playing small, you're going to dominate. Because the more problems you face, the stronger you become. The more resistance you push through, the tougher you get. The more pressure you handle, the more unshakable you become. Problems aren't here to stop you, they're here to prepare you. They're here to turn you into the kind of person who deserves success. The kind of person who can handle success. Because here's the truth. If you can't handle problems, you can't handle greatness. If you break down over small challenges, you will never survive at the highest level. And let's be real, most people are looking for the easy road. They want success without struggle. They want progress without pain. They want to win without ever having to fight. But that's not how life works. That's not how champions are made. If you want to be unstoppable, you have to be forged in the fire. You have to go through the pressure the setbacks, the failures, the obstacles, and come out stronger every single time. Because life is going to test you, it's going to throw challenges at you, it's going to push you to the edge, and in those moments you have to choose. Will you let this break you, or will you let it build you? Will you complain, or will you conquer? Will you fold, or will you fight? The most powerful people in the world are the ones who have trained themselves to love problems. They want the challenge. They crave the battle. They run toward the resistance because they know that's where growth happens. They don't wish for an easier life. They train to become stronger than any life they'll ever face. And that's what you have to do. You have to change your mindset about problems. You have to start seeing them as the gift that they are. You have to start using them as fuel instead of excuses. Because the moment you flip that switch, the moment you decide that nothing can break you, that's when you become unstoppable. That's when you stop playing small and start taking over the game. You don't have forever. Let that sink in. You don't have an unlimited number of days, weeks, or years to make your dreams happen. Every second that passes is a second you will never get back. Every day that slips away is one less day you have to build the life you want. Every moment you waste is a moment you could have used to push yourself, to grow, to take action, to win. And yet most people walk through life like they have all the time in the world. They procrastinate. They hesitate. They make excuses. They put things off until tomorrow, next week, next year. They say, I'll start when I'm ready. I'll go after my dreams when the timing is right. I'll change my life when it's more convenient. But what they don't realize is that time doesn't wait. The clock is ticking. Right now, as you sit here, your life is passing you by. And every single second that you let slip through your fingers is a second you will never get back. Think about it. How many people wake up one day, look around, and wonder, where did all the time go? They had big dreams, they had huge ambitions, but they kept putting things off. They thought they had more time. And then one day they realized that years have passed and they're still stuck in the same place. They realized they wasted decades waiting, hesitating, delaying, and now they're filled with regret. Because the scariest thing isn't running out of money, it's not failing, it's not losing. The scariest thing is wasting your life. It's looking back and realizing that you never even tried, that you settled for less, that you allowed fear, doubt, and excuses to steal your potential. And that's exactly what's happening to most people. They don't even see it. They don't even realize they're letting time slip through their fingers, one wasted day at a time. And the truth is, the most dangerous thing you can do is assume that you have more time. That's a lie, that's an illusion. Because nobody knows how much time they really have. You could have years left, or you could have months. You could have another decade, or you could have days. And if you really understood how little time you actually have, you would start treating every single moment like it matters. But most people don't do that. They spend their days distracted, scrolling through social media, watching TV, stuck in meaningless routines that don't get them anywhere. They keep saying, I'll do it later, but later turns into never. Someday turns into nothing. And before they know it, their time is gone. And here's the real kicker. There are people out there right now living the life you want. Not because they're more talented, not because they're luckier, not because they had some special advantage, but because they used their time differently. Because while you were hesitating, they were executing. While you were thinking about it, they were doing it. While you were waiting for the right moment, they were out there making every moment count, because that's the truth. There is no right time. There is no perfect moment. There's only now. And the people who win in life, who create success, who build legacies, they understand this. They operate with urgency. They don't wait for motivation. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for things to be easy, convenient, or comfortable. They take action now. They treat time like the precious, limited resource that it is. And if you're not doing that, you have to ask yourself, why? Why are you wasting time? Why are you delaying your success? Why are you treating your life like you have unlimited chances when you don't? What a sign, a guarantee, the perfect plan? Newsflash, it's never coming. The only thing you have is this moment, and what you do with it will determine everything. Because here's the harsh truth. Every day that you waste is a day you can never get back. You don't get a redo. You don't get extra time. You don't get another shot at today. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets. The more you hesitate, the more momentum you lose. The more time you let slip away, the more you train yourself to accept mediocrity. And that's the real danger. Not just losing time, but losing your edge, losing your hunger, losing your belief that you even have what it takes. Because when you waste time, when you delay, when you procrastinate, you start convincing yourself that it doesn't really matter, that you'll get to it eventually, that you're fine staying where you are. But deep down, you know that's a lie. You know you were meant for more. You know you have potential that you haven't even tapped into yet. You know there is a fire inside you that is being suffocated by hesitation, by fear, by excuses. And the only way to reignite that fire is to start treating time like it matters. To stop playing small, to stop living like you have forever. Because think about this. If today was your last day, would you be proud of how you spent it? Would you be able to say that you gave it everything? Would you be able to look back and know that you used your time instead of wasting it? Or would you regret the moments you let slip away, the chances you didn't take, the dreams you put on hold? Most people don't want to think about this. It's uncomfortable, it's scary, but that's exactly why you have to think about it. Because until you realize how little time you actually have, you will keep letting days pass without urgency. You will keep playing small. You will keep telling yourself that you have more time when you don't. So stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop putting things off. Treat every single day like it's your last chance to become who you were meant to be, because one day it will be. And when that day comes, you won't care about the fears, the doubts, the excuses that held you back. You'll only care about one thing. Did I use my time well? Most people go through life as spectators. They show up, follow the rules, do what's expected, and hope things work out in their favor. They participate, but they don't dominate. They get in the game, but they don't take over. They live passively, waiting for opportunities instead of creating them, waiting for permission instead of claiming what's theirs, waiting for the world to hand them success instead of stepping up and taking it. And that's exactly why they never break through, because life does not reward participation. It rewards domination. It rewards the ones who show up and refuse to be ignored. The ones who play to win, not just to get by. The ones who don't just blend in, but who make their presence so powerful, so undeniable, that the world has no choice but to take notice. Look around. How many people are just going through the motions? Showing up to a job they hate, checking boxes, doing the bare minimum to get by. How many people say they want success but aren't willing to do what it takes to own their space, to be the best at what they do, to rise to a level where nobody can touch them? How many people settle for average because they think just showing up is enough? But showing up isn't enough. Being involved isn't enough. Trying isn't enough. If you want real success, real power, real impact, you have to dominate. You have to step into every situation with the mindset that you are the best, that you will lead, that you will own the room, the field, the industry, whatever arena you choose, you own it. Domination is a mindset. It's not about arrogance. It's not about putting others down. It's about owning your power. It's about refusing to be just another player in the game. It's about stepping up, taking control, setting the standard, and making sure that when you enter the room, everything shifts. It's about being so committed, so skilled, so unshakable that there is no competition. Think about the people who dominate, whether it's in sports, business, entertainment, leadership. What do they all have in common? They don't wait for things to happen. They make things happen. They don't hope to win. They train to win. They don't settle for just being good enough. They demand excellence from themselves in everything they do. And because of that, they rise above everyone else. Michael Jordan didn't just participate in basketball. He owned the game. He trained harder, played smarter, pushed further than anyone else. He dominated. Steve Jobs didn't just work in the tech industry, he reshaped it. He thought bigger, demanded more, and created things that changed the world. He dominated. And the difference between them and everyone else, they didn't just play the game, they took over the game. They didn't just show up. They showed up with fire, with intensity, with an unbreakable drive to be the absolute best. And because of that, they weren't just one of many, they became one of one. But domination isn't just for the elite. It's not just for the superstars, the icons, the legends. It's for anyone who decides that they will no longer be satisfied with just participating, that they will no longer be just another person doing what everyone else does, that they will rise above the noise, above the average, above the competition, not because they're lucky, not because they're special, but because they refuse to settle for anything less. And this is where most people fall short. They wait for permission. They wait for someone to choose them, to give them an opportunity, to tell them they're good enough. But the truth is, domination doesn't come from waiting. It comes from deciding. It comes from choosing yourself. It comes from looking at the world and saying, I don't need permission to be great. I don't need approval to succeed. I will take what's mine because I refuse to do anything less. And that's the difference between winners and everyone else. Winners demand more from themselves. They push past their limits. They step into situations with certainty, with power, with the mindset that nobody will outwork them, nobody will outthink them, nobody will outlast them. They don't just want success, they own success. And that's what you have to do. Stop waiting, stop hesitating, stop playing small, stop blending in, stop participating like life is some community event where everyone gets a trophy just for showing up. That's not how the real world works. The real world rewards those who are bold enough, hungry enough, obsessed enough to take what they want and refuse to be ignored. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter where you started. What matters is whether you are willing to step up and take over, whether you are willing to train harder, think bigger, push further, and commit to a level of excellence that most people aren't even willing to attempt, because If you don't dominate, someone else will. If you don't step up, someone else will take your spot. If you don't claim your success, someone else will take it. That's the reality. The game doesn't stop for anyone. The opportunities don't wait for you to be ready. You either step up and take them, or someone else does. So ask yourself, are you just showing up, or are you taking over? Are you just participating, or are you dominating? Are you just going through the motions, or are you stepping into your full power and making your presence so strong that there is no question about who is in charge? Because life will not hand you greatness, you have to take it. Success will not come to you because you want it. It will come to you because you earned it. And earning it means doing what most people won't. Stepping up, taking control, demanding the absolute best from yourself, and deciding that no matter what it takes, no matter how hard it gets, you will not be ignored. You will not be just another player. You will own the game. Enough is enough. You weren't put on this earth to tiptoe through life, to blend in, to settle for just enough. You weren't meant to wake up every day feeling stuck, unfulfilled, half alive. You have power inside of you. You have potential inside of you. But potential means nothing if you don't use it. Dreams mean nothing if you don't chase them with everything you've got. The clock is ticking. Time is running out. Every moment you hesitate, every second you allow fear and doubt to control you, you are robbing yourself of the life you were meant to live. And here's the truth. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you success. Nobody is going to knock on your door and say, here's the life you always wanted. You have to take it. You have to fight for it. You have to decide right now that you will never again shrink yourself to fit in. Never again play small because it's safe. Never again allow fear to dictate your actions. This is your moment. This is your wake-up call. No more excuses, no more waiting, no more playing at half speed. It's time to step up. It's time to own your space. It's time to take control of your mind, your body, your actions, your future. It's time to dominate. Because the only way to win this game, the only way to create the life you deserve, is to show up every single day with an unstoppable mindset, unshakable discipline, and the absolute refusal to accept anything less than greatness. It's time to stop playing small and start taking over.